I might not admittedly be the most connected person on the planet, but I do try and keep a good eye fixated on the pop culture sphere, specifically around entertainment offerings, including cinema. So I'm surprised that for the concentration I do exercise, I heard nothing about Fast X in terms of a new trailer debut. I mean, it makes sense given the release date is closing in pretty quickly on May 19th, so later May, and this being the big summer fanfare flick, of course Universal wants to get as much attention and eyes fixated on this new work, the second to last concluding project of the Fast and Furious line. It's kind of sad, like, I just got invested in the Fast and Furious films, given I caught up with the first 9, including the spinoff of Hobbs and Shaw, and this will be my first film in theaters for the Fast and Furious line, yet it's going to be closing in next year, I think, unless the release date's changed. It's funny to me, like, I came on obviously really late. But it's a big conclusion. I mean, it's surprising to me that I didn't hear a word about this trailer coming out until I sat down yesterday and just pulled up my YouTube feed, and then suddenly I saw all this Fast X attention, and I'm like, where'd this come from? Like, was there something I didn't know about? Some sports event or something? Maybe something or some other type of event unrelated to that? And here's the second trailer for Fast X. Let's take a look at it either way. Like I said, I'm pretty excited for it. It looks to be a pretty epic concluding film, or at least, as I said, second to last project, with a lot of new faces, many returning family members of the Fast and Furious line, maybe some possible returns of old members. I've heard rumors, like I think of people I'd love to be reprising their roles, because, I mean, in terms of, this might be comic book movie logic, but it apparently applies to Fast and Furious as well, that maybe certain characters don't die when you think they do. Thanks, Han. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at it. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty excited for it, and the first trailer I thought delivered quite well. In terms of stunts, it looks exciting. As a summer blockbuster flick, I think Universal's done pretty well lately in terms of their movie offerings. I think Fast X is going to be another make-bank film project for them. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, that's how the last couple films have fared, and they made 10 of these things, going on 11, and several spin-offs at this point. But let's see what Fast X looks like in its present-day form right now. Oh, good song choice. It fits for the season.
Roman wasn't driving Ford Knox on wheels.
You see me shining, baby. We're locked inside. It's a trap. That's a bomb. Hey, dorks, what are we blowing up?
What? The Vatican? Wow. You guys are going to hell.
Get out of there!
Yeah, I was going to say, a bit of an edgy scope if we're going to wipe the Vatican off here, but I mean, I think in terms of the script, that line worked quite well. And Jason Momoa can certainly pull in an audience.
If you never would have gotten behind that wheel, I'd never be the man I am today.
I mean, this guy's been in how many blockbuster pictures and streaming series? Like, it's Jason Momoa's time right now, in my opinion.
By peace.
The devil's coming.
Boom. Tommy, I knew you would come for me. So how about we all just start shooting each other?
Let's dig some graves.
I love that Fast and Furious makes no apologies for just being so ornate.
You are not to.
And they really have widened the scope over the years in the last couple of entries quite well. We got car races now, it's an action thriller, government conspiracies.
We need weapons and cars.
Do you like surprises? I adore them.
I'd stay down if I was you.
You'll need to hit me harder for that.
The game's over, Dom. You lose. This is your last ride.
Then you might want to buckle up.
Looks good so far. Do we expect anything different? Again, we've had about 10 films to get used to. And I know people have said, I said with 9, I did think 8 was a bit stronger in my opinion in terms of the main line, but this one looks impressive. I mean, quite grand, as always. And again, like I said, it amazes me the scope of what Fast and Furious has captured over the last couple of years, having gotten caught up in, from what I remember, this is a while ago, but like a 3-day, we were hit with snow and, power outage, so on the generator, no Wi-Fi or anything. I had nothing better to do than, I'd bought all the Fast and Furious films from a local store with the intention of watching it one day, and I got all caught up with the first 8. I think I had to rent the last one digitally, but watching all these projects go after one another, you start with the mainstay car racing type action thriller scene, and now look how far it's expanded. I mean, yes, films have to grow, and it's understandable in terms of new projects. There needs to be some sort of, I guess, feeling of renewal. At least there's a temptation of that. And Fast and Furious, in my opinion, has largely succeeded. In tone, it's quite successful. And casting-wise, I mean, everybody here for me is a big draw. Even Brie Larson, I think she's doing a good job here. I've liked Brie Larson in the past. Room, for example, was my first entry of her, and I thought she was excellent in the film. Although Jacob Tremblay steals the spotlight on that one, but she's a good compliment in my opinion. I thought the story was quite invigorating. Her performance matched, I thought, well for the coverage of where the plot went. And I know she's certainly gotten detraction on Captain Marvel. I don't think it's all entirely her fault, to be honest with you. I think she's saddled with some lazy scripting, and that's more so Marvel's issue. I'm not going to make this a Marvel tangent. I could, but I'm not going to. I think in terms of Brie Larson here, I'm excited to see her even as well. The entire cast is basically returning from the past couple of projects, maybe some popping up faces as well from past entries. That's the rumor, at least in some respects. And from what I'm seeing, it looks good. Quite a sufficient movie. Jason Momoa, too. Again, immediate draw. It's funny to me, again, like I said, how expressive he is. And they really play into his style. Jason Momoa, if you base your understanding off of past pictures, for example, Aquaman immediately came to mind. He is not afraid to be, I don't want to say campy. That's the wrong term. Humorously ostentatious. Again, when I say grand performance and spectacle on part of Fast X, I would actually put the term in a more limited scope as well to Jason Momoa. You just watch his performance on screen, and I think they're trying to position him as a greater threat than Charlize Theron's been. I forget her character's name. That's interesting. Again, like I said, I'm easily interested. My first ever film in theaters with Fast and Furious, and we don't have that many entries left in terms of the main story. Of course, Universal is going to continue this thing, because I'm sure it makes, it does make oodles of money. So, of course, maybe we got all the spin-offs in the works and other side projects in the TV sphere, the gaming sphere. I mean, there's a lot in terms of the Fast and Furious line that I would imagine, again, there's, a substantial future. It's just funny to me, when I look at this trailer in part, as I was saying of Jason Momoa, he's got such a unique style, and they really play into that, and I think he's a great fit with the cast, so I'm excited to see him. And the script, I thought, was pretty good. The jokes land. I mean, that opening one, I thought, was edgy, but well delivered. I'm curious, 10th film in, it seems like it's still, a stand-up franchise. I mean, again, it depends on different franchises across the board, right, and different sequels, right? Interest might wane over time, but Fast and Furious, we're still riding pretty quickly with it. I mean, even 10 entries later, this thing's still churning out an audience, money. I mean, I know people personally who've said they vowed to never watch a Fast and Furious movie. I'm like, well, teach their own. I mean, it's an entertaining franchise, at least the mainstream line anyway. Because again, Hobbs and Shaw as a solo entry really didn't impress me as much as I think the main films did. But it was okay. It was like a so-so film. But Fast X looks great. I can't wait to watch it. I would have appreciated a little more forewarning, so I could have been a bit ahead of the curve in terms of knowing this trailer was going to debut. But all right, I presented my thoughts, at least presently. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below if you do wish to disclose your perspective. Are you somebody that's followed the franchise? Maybe you got caught up like me, after a certain point. You're like, okay, I better get hooked up on it now. And maybe you're going to be like me and entering the Fast and Furious franchise in theaters on the 10th entry, the second to last movie. I know, a penultimate experience. It's a bit late, but I can't wait to join in. I mean, especially as a summertime blockbuster. And some movies are kind of wavering in a space of unfamiliarity these days in terms of box office expectations. I would believe, based on the past and what I'm seeing in terms of execution on the particular project, that Fast and Furious 10, or Fast X, will attract an audience. I think it's going to be like every other one of those movies, a bit of a cash cow. I mean, the last couple were. let's see how Fast X fares, but so far I'm quite impressed with it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.